Okie dokie. Right. So, how do we start the show? Oh dear. So I'm not too sure where Anthony is.
Yeah. Do you have his phone number? Do you want to?
Let me send him another email quickly. Let me quickly get on to WhatsApp. He's probably going to say, "What, this Wednesday?"
Yes, tonight. Surely not.
Tonight? What now?
I think he must have seen the previous one and thought, "Aye, I'm not answering the phone to them."
Yeah, we're not going on that one. Add that. Oh, I think he's blocked me.
Viewers, if you've seen Father Anthony Chadwick, please call in immediately. Your friends and relatives miss you.
Hi, I'm Mike Brampton.
And my name is Julian Ho.
Welcome to Veterinary Ramblings. What are we going to talk about tonight then, Julian?
I'm not the foggiest.
I'll have a drink and I'll show you
I'll
how
have
I
a drink too. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, good. Cheers. You're very good health. Very good health.
Absolutely.
We've got a guest on tonight, Mike.
Yes, we have. We've got a quite a distinguished guest again. A gentleman from a place called Liverpool.
Liverpool, where the liver birds came from. That amazing 70s TV show.
Yep, absolutely. And so our guest this evening is a gentleman who goes by the name of Father Anthony Chadwick.
Father Anthony Chadwick?
Yep. And he is probably best known for being the man behind Webinar Vet.
Now I know Webinar Vet. I didn't know he was a father. That's
okay.
Very exciting, isn't it? I've never had anyone ecclesiastical on a Zoom meeting.
Told me. He's also into film editing as well.
Is he? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
a real polymath.
Yeah, so he does his Webinar Vet thing, which I've heard is probably the most highly subscribed to veterinary webinar service in the UK, but we can ask.
I believe it is. I've used it. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I've been on it.
You've been on it? Doing capnography?
No, I was doing blood pressure.
Ah, excellent.
Doing blood pressure. He plays guitar.
Does he?
He does.
Presumably for communion.
We'll ask him that. We'll ask him that. He's supposed to be here by now.
Well, maybe there was a late confession to be taken.
Quite possibly. The Webinar Vet's waiting.
Oh.
Hang on.
Okay.
It's Anthony Chadwick.
Anthony Chadwick, hello there.
No, you're on mute.
He's connecting.
I do apologise, Mr. Brampton. Oh my goodness, I'm running a bit late. I apologise. Thanks for the call. That was a reminder.
Better late than never. Really good to see you, Anthony. I'm Julian.
Oh, hiya, Julian.
Right to see you. Have you met Julian before, Anthony?
I don't know if we have.
I think we have. Yeah, BSAVA Congress.
Right.
A year or so back.
Well, I would say two youngsters, and you're the old man, Mike, because I mean, me and Julian were kind of, we're quite young in comparison to
springtime
of our youth, really. Still, aren't we?
Yes, I would have thought.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, then I'm going to share my screen then with you, Anthony, because I've been doing some research on you, and that's bands from Liverpool, isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Bands from Liverpool, but here, obviously, you are very familiar with webinars and with blogs.
Yes.
And it's interesting here that Liverpool comes up in this particular blog.
Yeah, it's interesting there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very clear here that
independent bishop. You didn't realise, did you?
I didn't know
I was.
We had no idea, Anthony, that after you graduated, you converted from the Jesuit faith and became ordained as a Roman Catholic.
Yes, all good. An Anglican Roman Catholic or an Anglican Catholic.
Yes, indeed. Yes. We had no idea.
Yes. No, well, I think that's another father. That's another Anthony Chadwick, I think.
Oh no! Hold on, Mike. You haven't done it again.
You've asked the wrong man to come on. Terrible.
And Anthony, I'm so sorry, Mike. I thought Mike had got it right this time. I was getting quite excited because the previous 5 guests, he's fucked up a little bit and Googled the wrong one. And it's been very embarrassing. And I thought everything seemed to fit because you're from Liverpool and this was Liverpool. And
yes.
And then you mentioned the church a moment ago. And I thought, well, great. At long last, Mike's got something right. But
no. It's becoming a trend. It's becoming a trend, Julian.
those questions gone.
So we don't have this conundrum as to whether we call you doctor or father.
Yeah, just Mister. I'm one of those. I'm next month. I'm 30 years qualified, and we were just plain old Misters then. But I think it is great that young vets can call themselves doctor now, because I think there is a feeling of a bit of an inferiority with doctors. So I think it was a good thing to bring in, but I'm not in a big rush to change and become a doctor.
When it first started, when we were first told that we could call ourselves doctor, I said to a GP friend of mine, she's married to an ENT specialist, so she's doctor, he's Mister, and I said, I don't really see the point. I've been quite happy as a Mister for the 20 odd years I've been qualified so far. And he said, no, you absolutely must. You must take on doctor. I said, well, why? He said, look, you get an upgrade on a plane 9 times out of 10.
Yes.
So I've done that. I haven't got an upgrade yet, but of course we can't travel anywhere, so it doesn't really matter.
Isn't that one of those interesting conundrums between human medicine and veterinary medicine, in that the human medics will take 5 years to qualify as a doctor?
Yes.
And they then spend another 4 or 5 years, or sometimes even longer, qualifying again as a surgeon to become a Mister or a Miss or a Mrs. And so technically the veterinary field qualify as veterinary surgeons. So you've already got that surgical qualification. Humans are moving from a doctorship to go on to the Mr. and Mrs. But it's interesting.
Well, I just think, we as vets, we're more holistic. We're just better than doctors. Let's face it, even the English language thinks that. When you want to sort of screw around with something, you doctor it. When you want to check that it's absolutely perfect, you vet it, don't you? So,
absolutely.
I'm quite happy to be a vet rather than a doctor, to be honest. So I'll keep it nice and simple.
I'm with you, Anthony. Cheers to that. To us.
Yeah, I'll raise a glass to that. I have no business. In all seriousness, I've done a lot of research tonight
into the atomic kittens. Can they be in my bubble?
Well, yeah, but I looked up, knowing that you're into music, because you are into music, aren't you? And
yes.
I know that, and hopefully you're going to play a nice song for us this evening, which I'm really looking forward to listening to. So I looked up, because Liverpool is really, it's quite a centre for musical heritage, isn't it? With bands like Echo and Bunnymen and Frankie Goes to Hollywood. There's Atomic Kitten, look.
Yeah, they're all good. The Lars.
Jerry and the Pacemakers. And of course, we all know the Teardrop Explodes.
Yes.
And the Wombats.
And the Lightning Seeds, I like them.
Lightning Seeds. And the Christians are very famous around here. He's done a few gigs in the local area.
Yeah.
Are they still going?
Yeah, we saw him a couple of years ago in Crosby. He was singing at one of the little festivals that we had in the town centre. So yeah, no, he's still around.
Yeah. So,
and of course, you don't always realise the icicle works there. I don't think I even knew they were a Liverpool band. So there we go.
Well, there you go. That comes up in this thing: 10 things you probably didn't know about Liverpool, and one of them, that the icicle works sort of set the scene in the whole Liverpool scene.
Yeah. No, I didn't realise they was a Scouse band, actually.
Yeah. And other great bands like Carcass.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit they're not one that's on my top list of playlists, so I'm not too sure about them, to be honest. I will no doubt look them up now after this, Mike. So you're adding to my vocab, which is good. I will make a little note.
The Scaffold were fantastic. They did Lily the Pink, didn't they?
Ah, right.
Was that Lily the Pink?
I think that's Lily the Pink. And the Lotus Eaters. Now, I don't know whether they are the same, whether they're named from the Alfred Lord Tennyson poem. Courage, he said, and pointed towards the land. The rolling wave will roll us shoreward soon. Remember that one? They came upon the land of Lotus Eaters. But I'm probably digressing. Really famous bands, aren't there?
Yeah. All, and I did, of course, miss out one of the most famous, and that, of course, is Cilla Black.
Yes,
of course, yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of big bands from Liverpool.
Yeah. Well, we've just covered all of that, so
we've gone over pretty much everybody there. I think
it's a pretty comprehensive list, I think. So
we may have missed out one or two, but everybody can make a mistake, can't they? Like that.
I think so. I mean, Mike's pretty good at his googling. That's
no, I don't think I've missed anybody out there.
Yeah.
That's all. That's complete.
You can't think of anyone.
Is it Liverpool or is it Liverpool?
Well, you could argue the toss, couldn't you? Because of course we have the Liver buildings.
Yeah.
So it could be Liverpool, but then I think they used to talk about the brown pool, didn't they? Which was sort of in the colour of a liver, because we have very sort of estuarine water, so they're often very brown. So I think that the term came from it being like the liver pool, in that the pool was very muddy and dark.
Right.
So that's where it might have come from.
If that's the case, why the liver part? Any idea?
Well, this is where the English language kind of just likes to throw up, differences, doesn't it? Is it forehead or forehead? Is it physically or physically? It's all these sort of things that come up to confuse us.
It's scone or scone.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Either potato. It just makes it confusing.
Potato, do they?
No,
I don't know. Do the Americans? They say tomato, don't they? They don't go tomato. They go tomato.
Yeah. And
you can imagine how it was George Gershwin, when George and Ira Gershwin. You can imagine Ira saying, George, play this. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. I've got to go off and make a cup of tea, but just play this. And he said, you say potato, I say potato. You say tomato, I say tomato. Potato, tomato. I don't get it.
It doesn't make any sense. Exactly.
if Julian, if Anthony's going to join us and actually play us a song later on, can I actually I can do this, can't I? I can actually mute. There we go. You see, Anthony, I've got all of the controls here.
Oh, this is why I love doing webinars, Mike. Because I often am the chair, so I have that control over mute and everything, which is always good.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
and I'm back.
Yeah, you used that on the webinar that I did, didn't you, Anthony? You went, Mike, I'll ask the questions. Thank you very much.
Exactly. I said, this is my show. This is my show. But so I'm now in your show, so I'm a tad worried.
Don't worry. We're going to get a little bit of CPD into this. I want to pin you down on this dermatology.
Yes.
So with you're a referral dermatologist.
Yeah.
How are you coping with teleconsults? Are you doing anything?
Just to sort of give you a bit of a history. So I qualified in 1990, did the certificate. Unfortunately, the certificate changed the year before I did it. So, I now, had I done the certificate a year earlier, I would have had the initial SAD after my name, which is a bit unfortunate. And I don't know whether I went out of the frying pan into the fire, because I've now got Cert BD after my name. I don't know which is worse or better, really. So ended up with that, and then set up my own practice in Liverpool in 97 and ran that till 2011, when I wanted to concentrate on the webinars. And and stuff. And then carried on with my dermatology till 2016. So I actually finished practicing 4 years ago. But, you know, I think telemedicine is really sensible. You know, I'm very big into talking about businesses being digital businesses. And, you know, vets, we can be a bit conservative and a bit slow to take on technology. And I remember being at a conference and there was a vet who was speaking and saying, change is happening too quick. We need to slow it down. And the reality is, you know, change happens and we either jump on that wave and help to mold it, or we are dragged along, you know, kicking and squealing. So I think telemedicine is, you know, is something that we should embrace. It allows, you know, perhaps that old lady who can't get to the vet to have her, you know, consults, you know, in the comfort of her own home. But I think what's important is that we as vets lead that. And so it's led from the practice rather than, you know, by a big organization which has 20, 30 vets consulting on animals that they've never really met before and they don't understand. So that would be my preference.
So what would your advice be to the vets that hopefully, I mean, we've probably got an audience of 5, we've estimated, but hopefully to those...
And 3 of them are here.
Yes. And one of them's a dog.
No, actually, Poppy's asleep. She's over there and she's fast asleep already. So what would your advice be to veterinary practices, predominantly, I think probably the independent sector rather than the corporate, because the corporates have got their own gurus, people working on it. But
you know, I would say, you know, I would say that so communication is important. I think using, you know, tools, so having things like when I talk to a lot of practices, even big, you know, businesses, pharmaceutical, you know, and sort of corporate practices, you know, how many of them really have very good, solid email lists of their clients so that they can speak to them regularly? You know, I think it's becoming a lot more popular now with the stuff that Vet Recall are doing, but, you know, text reminders. People want to know, I think, that you're staying in touch, and, you know, you may sort of that one time a year send them out a booster reminder, but actually they may not want to come in at that time. They may want to come in 3 months later. So, you know, make sure that you're using that kind of, you know, that digital communication to send out a text, send out an email. Of course, you know, it's also nice to send out that card, but I think it's, you know, marketing on the whole, you know, as vets, we're not necessarily brilliant at. Some people think it's a bit of a dirty word. But, you know, I just think it's really important to, you know, to get your message out there. And, you know, I think website is important. I think Facebook is, you know, the social media, so you should have a really strong presence on that. But it's interesting, you know, whenever we've done training on Facebook and we charge for it, you know, very few people turn up for it. So, you know, people haven't really embraced it. You know, we've got people who have a Facebook page, and, you know, obviously some are very good, but I would say it's 1%. I would say a lot of people, you know, have a Facebook page and then post, you know, once a month on it. You know, it's not enough. You need to be doing it regularly.
It's almost worse to be doing it sporadically, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, you need to be putting up, you know, you could do it daily, but, you know, certainly 2 or 3 times a week for it to be effective. And you build up a real, you know, community there, you know, within that.
You've been, I mean, during this COVID thing, I mean, I've done a number of things on Facebook. I did a whole series at the start of how Trudy was potentially trying to get rid of me because we were in lockdown together. And
yes, I can imagine that, Mike.
Yeah. She didn't succeed.
Yeah, good man. You stuck in there.
Yeah. I saw through some of those obvious ones.
Yes,
but I've noticed
the soap on the top step. You know, you should always spot that, shouldn't you? Really, because that's a dangerous one to miss.
Absolutely.
And your bath's getting cold, dear. So I bought in this nice 3-bar heater, keep you warm.
Yeah, she did that one as well. Yeah. But I noticed that you go live to do a song on Facebook. Have you tracked how many people are accessing that? And
yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Most of them get, you know, hundreds. We've had a few in the thousands as well. And you know, I mean, in that sense, I'm not big on numbers, because what's been really fascinating is, you know, I have a certain number of likes, and I know your sort of worth is measured by the number of likes you get on a social media post. But the number of people, the number of people that, you know, I've been speaking to, and they go, "Oh, do you know what? I've been really loving the music because, you know, it's been in lockdown." And one of my, you know, a vet I know quite well was sort of in isolation really for several weeks, and I was, you know, it has eased off a bit. I'm not doing it every day, but certainly for, you know, a good sort of month to 6 weeks, I hardly missed a day. And you know, she said, you know, that really was helpful for me. I got up in the morning and it kind of put a little smile on my face. And, you know, I'm a big believer in, you know, small actions. You know, we're not, you know, there are people like Churchill. He did great things, didn't he? And, you know, there were big things, but the majority of us do, you know, it's do the small things well. And, you know, if it makes a difference for one or two people, you know, for me, that's really significant. It's the same with all of the mindfulness stuff that we do, you know, with the Royal College. You know, obviously we do have a stress problem, and we do have, you know, other problems that we all know about. And for me, if that makes a difference, that somebody just thinks a bit differently and is a bit more positive about life, and, you know, it maybe helps get them out of a, you know, a difficult, dark period, then, you know, even if it's just one person, I mean, I've enjoyed myself. So immediately one person has had fun.
I was going to say,
extras along, that's great.
Yes, even if that one person is you, it's worth it, because as vets, every part of our day is trying to get, as small animal practitioners, individual pets better. As a large animal practitioner, it's individual farmers stock better or keep them well.
Yeah.
We're concentrating on the individual, and we often fail then to connect the dots. So actually helping an individual fellow human is just as important. And so any little bit of joy we can spread, any stress we can take out of somebody's life, if but a moment, has got to be worth it, hasn't it? It's in steroid in dermatology terms, it's the steroid that helps until their life gets better.
We'll talk about dexamethasone later, but I think that's really rather nice, actually, Anthony, because you complimented me this evening on my photographs that I put on Facebook. And a while ago I actually stopped doing that, and because I felt that I was getting drawn into the worth or the value of the photograph was associated with the number of likes or hearts, however you do that.
Yeah.
But the point was, I actually stopped, and a couple of people wrote to me. They sent me private messages and said, "Why have you stopped putting your photographs up? Because I really look forward to seeing a photograph in the morning. It brightens my day, and I really enjoy it. And would you carry on?" So I've carried on, because I felt for a while that it was quite narcissistic. Oh, look at my nice photograph. Look how clever I am at photography.
Well, you're obviously very talented at it, you know, and it's a thing of beauty. And you know, clearly you might have one or two people who sort of say, well, why is he always putting all these pictures on? But the majority of people, I know I'm carrying on. The majority of people, you know, really like nice things, don't they?
Yeah. They do. And so I think that's very nice. So tell me, have you got your guitar with you this evening?
I have. It's here. It's actually, this isn't my guitar. This is my dad's guitar, who passed away a few years ago. It's a beautiful guitar, and I always have my own guitar as well, but I seem to play this one. This is probably a better guitar than my own as well. So.
All right. Okay. So would you be kind enough to play us a song then this evening then?
Let's have a go.
Go on then.
coaster. Love like yours will surely come my way. Every day it's getting faster, and everyone says go ahead and ask her. Love like yours will surely come my way. Every day seems a little longer in every way. Love's a little stronger, come what may. Do you ever long for true love from me? Every day it's getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster. Love like yours will surely come my way. Every day it's getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster. Love like yours will surely come my way. Hey, hey. Good old Buddy Holly. Can't beat him.
That was fabulous, Anthony. Thank you very much indeed.
That was fantastic. Wonderful rendition. Really, really beautiful there,
That's
Anthony.
fabulous. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. No, well, again, you know, I love to sing, and it brings me joy. And you know, if people don't want to listen, then they can not go on Facebook most days and see my little face smiling and things. So it's it seems to have been something that people enjoyed, and you know, that's a good enough reason to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've got a talent, then why not share it? And if you can bring some joy, well, you've certainly brought joy to 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry that the dog's still asleep, Anthony.
Well, at least the dog wasn't sort of howling. That was a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
Music's a great way of bringing people together, isn't it?
It really is. I've got 3, 4 guitars, and sadly I play them all too rarely. I've got a lovely Washburn, which
yeah. Well, my guitar is a Washburn. But
Yeah.
my dad's is a Gibson, so I play that.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really wonderful too.
You've also got a wobble board and a didgeridoo, have you not, Julian?
I haven't got a wobble board. I've got a didgeridoo,
Yeah.
and I'm also learning the clarinet. And I made a mandolin last year that I'm learning. So,
Right.
Really good.
So what gin are you drinking tonight then, Anthony?
I'm not. Well, actually, you know, I've got here the Adams Ale. It's Liverpool's finest.
I love Adams Ale. It's fantastic. Now I have to say, other ales are available.
Yes, we have to say that other ales are available. Yes, absolutely.
Well, when I say Adams Ale, I think I just mean water at the moment.
What?
But I think there is. But I think we do have an Adams Ale, and it is quite hoppy as well.
You're drinking what?
I'm drinking water because, you know, I'm not like a rich vet. I'm just a digital online personage now. You see, so that this is all I can afford. It's a hard life.
I've topped this up. This is water. I topped it up. As an old bottle.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bottle you just found. I mean, it's sensible.
I wiped the outside of it and rinsed it out a couple of times, and it's just got a bit of tap water.
Yeah.
And I had a bottle earlier as well.
Yeah, Liverpool gin. I do like the fact that you're drinking that in my city's honour and my honour.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's all gone now.
Do you want to pour another one, Mike?
No, I can't. It's gone.
Well, let him have some of your Plymouth gin, and then that should be fine. Just
have some of that.
Just pass it over to him.
Is that the full Navy strength there, Julian?
No, I shied off that. This is the 41.2. This is the.
Why would I be interested in that then?
It's the soft drink version.
Yeah.
Yes, low alcohol gin.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to drink to that. I'm not going to.
But we can get an image, can you, of you pouring your drink earlier, Mike? Have you managed to?
Absolutely. Well, Well, I thought were you not going to comment on my making of the Liverpool gin earlier?
Well, I was going to, but you said you're going to pour yourself a double, and
Yeah, I did.
The one you poured was a quadruple. So I was going to wait until you poured the double you said you were going to, and comment on that.
It's too late now. It's gone.
No. Wait a
Here's
minute.
the gin.
So tonight I thought I would pay a homage to our good friend Anthony and make a nice little gin and tonic with Liverpool gin. Valencia orange, 47% proof, this little beauty. So first thing I'm going to do is prepare my glass. And I'm going to do, as you've seen me do so many times before, ordinary vegetable peeler, zest the orange, and put some of that beautiful zest in around the glass. Pre-cooled glass. It's summer. Let's put nice ice cube in there. Pretty much ready to go. Probably doesn't need it. The gin itself has got a beautiful flavour with a hint of orange in there, but I'm just going to supplement that orange with a quick squeeze there. Right. Oh, I can smell the orange in this. This is lovely. So, I thought tonight I might actually make a double. Out with my trusty swizzle stick and a Fever Tree Mediterranean tonic with subtle hints of herbs tonight. So let's run that down into there. Just aerating and mixing in the gin. I think that's probably enough. So, Liverpool, Valencia orange. One of our previous guests would probably say Valencia or something like that. So, here's to you, Anthony, and Liverpool. Cheers. Tonight's a good night. See? So,
Yes.
single,
Yes.
double.
Right. You put two of those in, didn't you?
Yeah.
So
So it's a quadruple.
that's four.
Oh well, never mind.
Yes.
Is that why I finished the bottle?
That's why
That is
you
probably why you finished the bottle, yeah.
can no longer walk straight.
I'll have a drink to that.
Okay.
I'm sure I've got my car keys here somewhere.
Cheers.
I'm fine.
Just
fine.
check. Just
Yeah.
check you're not drunk by driving a little bit, and then
Yeah.
you'll.
60
That's the way
miles
to do it. Yeah.
So listen,
Easy.
I think to be honest with you, Julian and Anthony, that it wasn't necessarily the CPD that I thought it was going to be, but I think the digital CPD and learning how to cope as a practice in this COVID lockdown, and things that practices should be looking at and looking at doing. It's a bit of a task, and it's a little bit onerous to think I've got to spend some time on Facebook or Twitter or whichever, and Facebook is probably the one that most of the population are using, but it's probably well worthwhile in keeping that contact between the practice and the clients, explaining from a clinician point of view,
and becoming part of the community.
a
Now it's
community.
easy where I
Yeah,
live. It's a very small village.
So I think that personally is valuable CPD, and so consequently,
we should give a CPD certificate, shouldn't we, for that?
I think we should actually. I think we should.
The certificates.
I've got one here.
We take.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Okay.
I've got a CPD certificate. Now, I normally print something out on the computer, Anthony. It's custom made each week. I thought you deserve something a little bit special. So I've made a CBD certificate using Thai black rice,
Yes.
some basmati rice,
Yeah.
and some outer leaves of leek.
I like it. I do like it. I mean, we may use that with our CPD certificates going forward digitally as well in webinar vet.
What you can do, you
Absolutely.
can take
Why not?
and then I can eat it tomorrow.
Is it on rice paper as well?
It's not on rice paper. No, like I can rinse it off the paper.
Yeah, and then just cook it.
Yeah.
And you've got a sort of leek and rice soup, haven't you? Really?
Absolutely, but a tom yum sauce would be delicious.
It's also
I like the idea.
Yeah, it's very green and it's recycling and it fits in with the environmental policies of I think all three of us and the whole planet thing. So okay, I'm sure the RCVS will be accepting this for the viewers that are watching. And
no, they won't because we haven't fulfilled the requirements of CPD. Again, as you know, Anthony, it's no use just watching, passively taking stuff in. You have to reflect.
You have to reflect. Yes.
So, should we just
let's reflect on our CPD?
Let's reflect. That's great.
Excellent.
I've done enough. But Mike, I mean, I think it was a really good point because, I've banged on a bit about, being a digital business over the last few years.
Yeah.
And actually I've said, if you're not, your business will become more and more irrelevant and, may not be around 10 years time. A lot of, big companies used to last a lot longer. In our last 10, 20 years, we've seen companies like Kodak go to the wall because they actually invented the digital camera, but then didn't use it. And, they said, well, actually, our business is paper. We don't want something that's, photographic paper. And the business, doesn't really exist anymore, apart from, I think they create cinema, film. And that's about it. And I think, coronavirus has accelerated that change. And, those businesses who haven't had a digital element to them, had to really sit on their hands and it's difficult to do a lot. Whereas those who have got a digital element, have been able to continue in some form, practices that can take, drug orders, maybe over the internet and have things delivered to people's houses. It's an easier way to stay on. So I would say it's almost now becoming obligatory that, if you are not more digitally savvy, in 12 months, you may not exist as a business. And I think that applies, to veterinary practice as well. So, sadly, I think, in 12 months' time, we'll probably, be able to talk about a number of practices that, unfortunately haven't got through this very difficult period.
I think you're right. And in some ways, I mean, we've been trying to push telemedicine a little bit over the past few months, maybe years. And this has given us the opening to really crack on and make a thing of it. And I think particularly in the more remote parts of the country where it is difficult for people to get in, as you said, the elderly people who perhaps don't want to drive or can't make it out after dark. There's still then this avenue of seeking veterinary attention, veterinary help. And it's those practices that make the best ability of using that, make the most of the technology there and really push on that I think are going to come out of this growing.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that, as you say, I think, and it's a message that I try and put out because I think it can make a real difference to people's businesses. So I think it's, it is worth reflecting on it because, as vets, we love our clinical CPD. We want to know how to, fix that dog's leg, how to get that cat's skin better. But actually, like it or not, if we are running a practice, or even if we're not, but we're, within that practice, if we don't build that digital side in, we could be out of a job, or, our business could fail. So I think it is really
I think you're absolutely right, Anthony. It's I mean, I like going out to practices and doing sort of hands-on anaesthesia CPD. That has just gone. That does not exist anymore. I did my first. Wasn't really CPD. It was a consult, but it was a digital consult with a Swedish client today.
Yeah.
And that's, we were both playing with the technology. We were both using technology we weren't used to. But the bottom line was that we got done what we needed to get done. And in actual fact, I mean, ordinarily, I wouldn't necessarily interface with a Swedish vet.
Yes.
But suddenly, there I was in her practice, working with her on a case. In this particular instance, it was feline hypertension. But I was there to work with her on her case, and we got the problem solved. And it was quite rewarding, actually, both ways. And ordinarily, back in the old days, pre-COVID, that wouldn't have happened. That would have been a series of emails or maybe a phone call or something like that. But because we were forced into that situation, and I think I'm certainly going to start taking more of that into what Thames Medical can offer, and try and reach out to our clients and do that.
And also, I think I've always been a very committed environmentalist. We've got one planet, we better look after it as best we can. I
think you and I spoke about that.
Yeah, love obviously animals and love nature and things. And I'm thrilled that over the 10 years we've probably saved millions of miles of travel miles where vets haven't had to travel up to Manchester for an evening meeting, but instead they've jumped on a webinar, and it's probably been a nicer experience, a glass of Sauvignon Blanc in their hand. They've put the kids to bed, they've done the training in their PJs or whatever, and these are stories I get told, I'm not making it up. And then get to bed at a sensible time, and the next day they wake up and they've done an hour and a half of CPD, and it hasn't cost them all night to do it, and they're a little less stressed and a bit more energetic the next day in the practice. So it's helped the vets, and obviously I am a vet, I want to try and help my profession and my colleagues, but also as significant for me is the sort of environmental difference that we can make. And we have to think in a more sustainable way. And I think, as I said at the beginning when I was chatting to you, with everything I always try and see an opportunity and a silver lining. And coronavirus has obviously been awful, but maybe it will be a reset for us, that when it all pans out and it's all finished, we don't go back to the old normal, but the new normal is more caring for the environment.
But I think you're right. There's got to be something positive we get out of this. And if it is a new way of working that's on the whole more environmentally friendly, that's got to be a good bonus. We've been struggling for the last few years as a practice to get enough consulting rooms. And now we've just had several more consulting rooms arrive in the practice.
Digitally,
Absolutely. Here's one I'm working from now.
Yeah.
So that's a huge economical saving and a huge environmental saving to the practice.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in, obviously, bad things happen to us all, and obviously, in a sense, you learn most about yourself and you grow most through adversity and through difficulty, rather than when everything is going swimmingly.
Absolutely.
So, hopefully this, and again, it is I'm not trying to belittle the importance of it, because it's been a terrible thing that's happened. But if we can turn it around and turn it into good, then, maybe there's kind of some purpose to it or whatever.
Absolutely. There's got to be some good end to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I think this is an ideal opportunity to break the paradigm in most businesses, and think, let's move forward.
Now, I understand, Anthony, that you're into this football game.
I am, or soccer.
Soccer.
Yeah, I like soccer.
Kickball.
Yes,
Like
that's the one.
Like Subbuteo with real people.
Yes. No, I mean, again, you know, I was born literally on Priory Road, and if you walk straight along Priory Road, you end up at Goodison. If you turn to the left, you end up at Anfield. So I could open my window on match day and know what the score was by the roars.
Right.
So I was that close to the ground, and my dad was a season ticket holder. The season ticket I inherited when he passed away. So I have been enjoying that marvellous football over the last few years.
At Goodison Park. That's fantastic. So you're an Everton fan?
No, a Red.
The original team in Liverpool was, of course, Everton. And they were the first team, and they played at a stadium called Anfield Park.
That's right. And they wouldn't pay the rent when the guy put the rent up, and so they moved to Goodison, and he said, well, I'd better form my own football team. And of course, that's how Liverpool got formed.
Right, but of course you're an Everton fan, aren't you?
No, I'm a Liverpool fan.
Liverpool.
Mr. Klopp, Clippity Klopp.
So what's it like playing in a second-hand stadium then?
Well, it's been rebuilt a couple of times, so it's like it's Trigger's broom, isn't it? You know, it's got 3 different handles and 4 different heads. You know,
look after your broom, Rodney. Look after your broom.
But no, I mean, what I've really enjoyed since Klopp has come in is, you know, you see somebody who's very, you know, I use him as a mentor because the way he actually manages people is
just a quick time out here. You're referring to a gentleman called Jurgen Klopp. I think is the football manager or the manager of a football team called Liverpool Football Club.
That's correct.
Is that right? Okay, fair enough. That'll bring Julian up to speed.
Great. Okay.
He knows nothing about football.
I know about climbing. I can tell you something about climbers, but no. Football. Yeah.
But
famous Liverpudlian climbers. It is a bit
of an obsession in Liverpool. I mean, we've just won the league after 30 years. The last time we won the league, I wasn't even a vet. That's how long ago it was.
Oh, it's taken you 30 years to win the league, eh?
I know. And we used to win it virtually every year when I was growing up, even through vet school. And then suddenly I qualified as a vet in the July. We'd won the league in the May. And then we've never won the league since.
I speak Latin and I'm learning Greek, so there's the connection there.
Caecilius ist pater.
Indeed, Caecilius intricilius stat. And Metella est mater.
Yes, and Mama Masamata, Mama Samata Samant.
I got a wonderful
first line from Book 4 of the Aeneid. At Regina Yandudum Saucia Cura, Walna Olet Venet et Caipo Carpenter Rigni.
Wow. I got my first
You're getting emotional.
I got my first attention from the Latin master because he asked me to conjugate the verb mittere, which is to put or to place.
Yeah.
Mettere.
Mettere, well, whichever. But and I sniggered.
Mettre in French.
Yeah, mettre in French, but because it was mito, mitis. And Brampton giggled, so he actually got a detention for giggling whilst he was conjugating mittere, the verb in Latin. And ever since that day, it's funny, that was a transformational time in my life.
Yes.
It was old Rusty Ballard, as we used to call him, would attend lessons in his full gowns.
Yeah.
So we had Latin lessons with Rusty Ballard in full gown, and it was Ballard who was not to be argued with.
Yeah.
And Brampton got a detention from him, which stopped me rugby training for that afternoon.
We had a great Latin teacher, Jeff Murphy, absolutely fantastic Latin teacher, who really brought it alive. And so we could talk in a Latin class if we wanted to. We had to speak Latin.
Fair enough.
And there was one guy, Stephen Greenfield, who just didn't quite get it. Really nice guy, but just Latin was not his forte. And I remember we were studying the story of Daedalus and Icarus, and there's one of the lines: Daedalus in hortatus voluit. Daedalus revelled in the thrill of flying. And Jeff Murphy said, Stephen, perhaps you could translate this. Daedalus in hortatus voluit. He looked at it for a long while. He said, Daedalus was in the flying garden?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I have to say that detention transformed my view of authority, and that has probably stayed with me ever since. So if we've got anybody from the RCVS looking to... Oh, sorry.
So you were really subservient before then, weren't you, Mike?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Where are we? It's probably 10:30 at night, is it?
It's not far off, quarter past.
Yeah, quarter past.
10:15. What have we done? We've done our CPD. We've done our CPD certificate.
We've done CPD certificates. We've done a bit of dermatology. We've done digital marketing. We've done football. Anthony's played us that fantastic song. Thank you so much for that. It's brilliant.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I've got Seagull here.
Oh,
we
Seagull,
haven't
yes. You're going to play that.
Oh, hang on. Bear with me, people, because Anthony, of course, is probably lesser known as a film editor. Was this one of yours, Anthony?
Yeah, I quite like swimming next to. Is it a whale shark?
It is indeed a whale shark, and this sort of sums this up. So this is a live bird, a cormorant, who's diving down onto a whale shark to steal
one of its little groomers.
One of his little groomers, absolutely. No, that wasn't the one that we wanted to share, was it?
That's pretty amazing, though, isn't it? You can tell it's a cormorant because if that had been a great white and the other bird, it would have been shagged, wouldn't it? So why are they called liver birds? I always thought liver birds was that 70s sitcom with Pauline. Not Pauline,
we have two Nerys Hughes.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah. Nerys Hughes. Yeah, I remember her.
Brilliant actress. Really.
It was a good series. We have two birds that sit on top of the Royal Liver Building, which is one of the three graces. Where we have a UNESCO heritage waterfront, and they're all buildings that were built in the early part of the 1900s, and they had two liver birds put on the top, and they're not cormorants, but they're obviously sort of modelled on cormorants, and they're actually tied down onto the building, and they say if they ever leave the city of Liverpool, the city of Liverpool will no longer exist. So they're the two liver birds. They are on top of the Royal Liver Building on the Liverpool waterfront.
Right.
That's
actually
the ravens of the Tower of London, isn't it?
Oh no.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And the clock face I think it's the Liver Building, is bigger than Big Ben's clock face.
Is it?
And then
it's actually the largest clock face in Britain.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And the actual building was then
the largest
modelled in Shanghai as the Bunt.
Sorry?
I was going to say the building in Shanghai, the Bunt, I think it's the Bunt it's called, was modelled on the Liver Building. So there's a very similar building in Shanghai, which is, I think we're actually twinned with Shanghai. Liverpool, I believe, is twinned with Shanghai and New York. That is a small city with a big attitude.
Absolutely.
There is a story that went around that they were doing a survey to find out who the second city was in the country. And they went to Birmingham, and Birmingham said, well, clearly we're in the centre of the country. We're the biggest city after London. Clearly we are the second city. And then they went up to Edinburgh, and Edinburgh said, well, we're the capital of Scotland, clearly, you know, within the United Kingdom, after London, we are the second city. They went to Manchester. Manchester said, you know, we're the northern powerhouse. We've got these two fantastic football teams, etc., etc., etc. You know, clearly, Manchester is the second city. And then they came to Liverpool and they said, who's the second city? And we said London. So we have a big opinion of ourselves sometimes, and hence why we end up twinning with New York and Shanghai.
Fantastic.
And this was my mate who I was sitting watching the telly one Saturday, and luckily I had my phone close, and he came and you know, flew up to our window and then started banging on the window. I think he wanted a chip butty or something, presumably because nobody was out. There wasn't quite as much stuff to scavenge, but a beautiful herringle there.
Yeah, gorgeous.
A cheeky herringle, but a beautiful one.
And
that shows, you know, we're that close to the coast, because we actually have seagulls nesting, you know, on the road and things.
Do you?
Yeah, on the chimneys and stuff. Yeah.
He's
So there you go. He's having a good look around. And that is Mike filming sort of quality, not quite at Mike's level, but still nice.
Well, pretty good, pretty good. You got a nice close up of a herringull there.
Yes, exactly.
Here in the
You put that out live on Facebook on a Saturday afternoon.
And it got a lot of likes. I felt needed and loved. It was good. It got more than me playing it. My only sort of sorrow about it was it got more views than me actually playing the guitar. But you know, I'm quite happy to say that a seagull has got more talent than me, because it probably does.
I think what's quite sad is that you were watching that on a Saturday afternoon and not Liverpool Football Club.
Well, it was during the lockdown, and of course it wasn't happening. So
I think on that note, we should probably raise a glass to Liverpool, because they have won the league title.
Yes.
About 20 games before the end of the season. So it's a well done, Liverpool.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Mike, your glass is getting quite empty there.
Well, you know what that means, don't you, Julian, of course?
Pour another one. Time for a joke.
I think probably, sadly, it is time for a joke. And at this point in the show, Anthony, normally what we do is that Julian will tell us a joke.
Yes.
And you pretend it's funny.
Yeah.
I will do that, I promise.
It's
not a problem.
Okay.
Talent whatsoever. But I was trying to think of a joke that would tie in tonight. And oddly enough, I was just prompted looking at that herringull video, because I read recently that in Florida they have a problem with badly behaved porpoises, and they describe it. I was reading the report. There are juvenile, adolescent porpoises exhibiting unethical and bad behaviour. Now, whether that means they smoke or they just go around sort of head-butting great whites or bathers, whatever, I'm not sure. But it struck me that what you need to do is actually teach those adolescents good manners. And so I hypothesised that perhaps, you know, in this make-up world with the bad behaved porpoises, just down the road in South Carolina, they've got porpoises that are really well behaved. And actually, do you know, I looked into it, and they have. And they discovered that what happened was, with these porpoises that are well behaved, they get taught good manners by seagulls. So if they exhibit bad behaviour, aberrant or abhorrent behaviour, then the seagulls squawk at them or peck them, and you know, therefore sort of show them the error of their ways, and they get better. So what the scientists did was to grab a whole load of seagulls with a view to bringing them back to Florida and getting them to teach those porpoises good manners. But unfortunately, they were caught at the border and arrested for transporting gulls across the border for immoral porpoises.
Oh, very good. I like it. A lovely play on words. Always good.
Oh, that's one of your better ones, Julian.
I'm afraid it is.
So on that note, let's pay a tribute to another man who I think actually probably played Liverpool quite a lot, although he was predominantly Irish.
But he was ecclesiastical, much like our esteemed guest.
He was very ecclesiastical, like Father Anthony. So we shall raise a glass, and
May your dog go with you.
may your dog go with you too. Anthony Chadwick, thank you so much for joining us on Veterinary Ramblings. It's been an absolute pleasure. And if any of the viewers like what you've seen, please just click like or subscribe in the captions below, and we'll be happy to see you. Oh yeah, heart thing, yeah.
Hello.
Oh, look at that! It's nearly like the rugby play. Thanks, Julian. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much indeed. Good night, everybody.
Thanks all. Bye-bye. Tonight has been positively slick. It's been great. Usually there's been, oh fuck, we lost the recording. Oh, did we press record? Oh no! Oh no, it is. That's fine.
No.
And so,
we've had dropouts on Zoom. We've had Tesco deliveries. We've had
my light melted.
Oh yeah, your light melted one evening. I lost my hair one evening.
It's back now, Mike. You're okay.
Yeah. So
this is.
I've kept mine, although I've got the lockdown locks and the corona curls now.
I didn't want to say that you were looking a bit hippie-ish there, Anthony.
Yes, yeah, no, it needs a cut.
We're not really quite sure what we're intending to do, are we? Because it all started off with a very drunken conversation just near the beginning of lockdown. That,
yes.
Mike and I had done a couple of lectures in the past together, sort of double-handed ones, and we thought, what wouldn't it be good during lockdown to just do one of our Mike and Julian lectures and get it out if anyone's interested in watching it, whatever. And then a couple of drinks later, it was, we should do a weekly podcast, isn't we?
Yeah.
It's easy enough to do. I just have another one.
Yeah.
And next thing we both knew, we're on number 5 and thinking, hang on.
Well, but I think it's so good because if you look back and you go back, 10, 15 years, we relied on the BBC and, there was only a certain number of people who were broadcasting, whereas, again, digital has democratized it and it allows us to, have a go at things and it's a bit of fun and, great. I mean, and if you get 20 viewers or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, it's, as long as people are enjoying it, it's, it's good, isn't it?
That's right.
I think that's the strength of the whole thing is that we're actually enjoying this whole new digital Zoom technology, and that's why I kept you on the digital stuff earlier on, Anthony. I've prepared load of stuff about football and all sorts of stuff, but what you were giving us then was some really good, valuable, of the moment stuff that we can share with other people. And if they watch it, great. If they don't, then that's their loss. But what I think, by and large, this, what we call Veterinary Ramblings, we now call our show, don't we, Julian? And we sort of look forward to our Wednesday evening of having a few too many drinks, and that really is actually genuinely empty.
And was it full when you started?
No, it was half when I started. But you'll see in the cut that when I actually make the gin in the gin making section, which is pre-recorded, you'll notice that I actually make up 2 doubles.
Yeah.
Which is why Julian drew reference to that earlier on, the fact that I'd made up 2 doubles. It was probably half full, and I will probably wake up with a bit of a hangover tomorrow. But I've had a fabulous evening, and it's, for us, it's sort of become our COVID sanity.
Yeah, well, and everybody's doing them, aren't they? These Zoom meetings. But as you've said, you know, you use that with your client in Sweden, and suddenly what could have been a very expensive trip over, or you may not have gone over, you know, you made a sale, and it's a digital sale basically. And, you know, part of that is because you've probably, you know, been using Zoom, and so it's become a skill that you can, you know, use in the future, isn't it, as well, and develop.
Absolutely.
I do a lot of peripatetic ultrasound training, so I'll go to people's practices and teach them how to get the best out of their ultrasound. Now, again, that's on hold at the moment during lockdown.
That's dried up for you, hasn't it?
Well, completely. Yeah. But I was thinking the other day, actually, you know, I can't do that online because, you know, it's a hands-on thing. And I thought, well, actually, is it? Because what we're doing is looking at a screen. She's rushing. She's leaving.
Yeah. All right.
But it's been really good fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Have you really?
Yeah, I have, honestly. There's no fingers crossed or anything. Look.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Really appreciate it, Anthony. And if we've brought some light to your life on a Wednesday evening, then
well, definitely. I mean, we are all a bit isolated at the moment, aren't we? And so it's always good to be together as well.
Absolutely. It doesn't feel at all isolating tonight. So you brought light into our life tonight, Anthony.
Yeah, and you two guys as well. Really good fun.
Yeah, indeed.
And great to see you again. And give my love to your better half, Mike.
She's in the background here. Love to you as well. Not a problem.
Great.
May you take with you, Anthony.
Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night, mate. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
What a nice guy.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this week's episode of Veterinary Ramblings.
We really appreciate all your support, and we can't thank you enough.
Yeah. This week's episode is actually the last episode of season 1.
I can't believe that. Last episode. Hey, look, we really hope you've enjoyed the show so far. If you have, please give our Facebook page a like to keep updated with season 2.
Season 2? Oh. Fair enough. Well, I understand that next week we'll also be releasing some information to let everyone know about our upcoming merchandise campaign. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
We're giving away free eye peelers.
What? We're doing veterinary rambling eye peelers?
Eye peelers. Peels the cornea. No, sorry. That's the note from the producer saying the jokes are going to be cornea. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, well, that's not going to be too difficult, is it? So anyway, listen, keep in touch with us, follow, and we'll see you soon.
We will indeed.
May your dog go with you.
Go with you.